Roses are red, violets are blue, and so are the car's lights driving behind you. I have been pulled over more times than I'm willing to admit to, but today I thought we'd just run through a few of my favorites, you know? All three stories have one thing in common, and it is a consistent issue throughout my life. I am late to everything. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I can get up earlier. I can change my entire routine to where I will leave at a specific time. And then in my head at that time, I'm like, what's another 5? And I'm just late. Everywhere. Doesn't matter where it is. I've always been that way. And so each of these stories has a lot to do with that. And I figured we just kind of jump right in with the first time that I got pulled over. And okay, so I was a senior in high school, and I had decided like maybe 5 days before prom that I was gonna go to prom. At first I wasn't gonna go. I didn't have a date, I didn't have a dress, I didn't want to do it. Like, I just was not feeling it, you know? And then as I got closer to the date of prom, I decided, you know, that's an experience that I wanted to have. And I needed to find a date and I needed to find a dress. And so I had a friend, she was homeschooled at that time, and she decided that she would come with me. I was like, this is great. We're gonna have so much fun. I'm so excited. And I get the dress, I get everything ready, and finally the day comes. Like, it is prom day. My friend didn't think very much about what she would wear to prom. And so the day of prom, I spent most of my day with her as she's like freaking out, trying to figure out like what to wear. Like, I already had my dress, I was set, or everything was fine, but she couldn't figure it out. And so I let her wear my prom dress from the year before. And she kind of had a meltdown. It didn't really fit right. Like, and she was definitely the type of friend that would like throw tantrums, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'd seen her like completely destroy her closet trying to find something before, like just yelling and throwing things across the room. Interesting girl, but that's besides the point. So we spend all of this time trying to figure out what she's gonna wear. And then finally I look down and realize our dinner reservations at PF Chang's was less than 30 minutes. And it takes at least 20 to get there. And so as she's still like trying to get ready, I'm like, we have to go. Like, we have to go. We're gonna miss our reservation. We're not gonna be able to make it. And it takes her probably another 15 minutes. And so I called them, I'm like, hey, is there any way that we could push our reservation back? And they were like, no, absolutely not. We're booked up. And so I was starting to panic a little bit. And they were like, you know, if you can get here within 5 to 10 minutes of your time, that should be fine. And I was like, okay, cool, great. And so we get in my car, which if I can find a photo of what kind of car I had at that time, I will insert it right here, because it just adds so much to the story, you know? And so we finally get into the car. I hadn't obviously gotten transportation, you know, because I decided like 5 days prior that I was actually going. So I was driving myself to prom, and my friend was gonna ride with me. And so we get in the car, we're on our way, we're probably about 10 minutes down the road, we're on the interstate, and I was speeding. I mean, I can't remember by how much, but I know it was like solid 10 over at that point. And we had maybe like 3 to 5 minutes left before we had to be to our reservation, and we were like 15 minutes out. So I was like, we're gonna shave down some time, you know? We're going, we're gonna make it, we're going to eat before we go to prom. And then I get pulled over. And you could tell that the police officer was a bit in shock whenever like getting pulled over, and we're completely dressed head to toe for prom. Like, it was very obvious, a lot of sparkle going on. And he was a bit taken aback, and he was just kind of like, you know, do you know why I pulled you over? And I was like, yeah, no, tell me, sir. He's like, well, you were speeding. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. And then he decided to take more of like a dad approach to things and tell me, you know, it's not good that you were driving this fast. Like, this is a really important day for you all. you really shouldn't be this careless when you're behind the wheel. And then he finished his lecture with like, I don't want to be the one to pull you out of the ditch later tonight. Well, me either, sir. I don't want that either. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, what was I supposed to say to that? Like, yes, sir? Okay. We ended up, I guess he probably felt a little bad, so he didn't give me a ticket, thank God. But yeah, at that point, I was just like, over it. We made it to the reservations like 15 minutes late. They still let us eat quickly. We had to order like immediately. And we went to prom. It's very interesting seeing how a police officer will respond to situations like that. And I respect them for it, honestly. Like, I still remember it today. That was at least 10 years ago. So, hey, props to you, sir. I wish I stopped speeding, but I didn't. And that will move us into my second story. The second time I got pulled over, a little more extreme. I remember I was probably 18 at the time. I had just gotten a new boyfriend. I was on my way to work and I was late again, always late. I lived about 25 minutes from where I was working, so I knew I needed to get there. It was a Sunday. I worked as a hostess at a restaurant, and it was gonna be super busy, you know, like after church kind of crowd. And so I was really trying to get there as soon as I could. And so I'm on the interstate, I'm on the phone with my boyfriend. I believe that we're fighting at the time. Like, I'm not quite sure what we were talking about, but I remember I was really interested in the conversation. And so I'm on the phone, I'm zoned out, I'm just driving. Cue blue lights. Cue the blue lights. Here we go again. So I pull over and the police officer comes, and this wasn't a county police officer. This was a state trooper. So there was honestly no getting out of that one. Like, I was definitely in trouble. So I was talking to this man. He was very, very nice, but he did let me know, hey, you were speeding. You were going 86 in a 55, and it was a construction zone, which pretty much doubles the sentencing there for sure. And I lost it. I was so upset. I remember I cried, and the man, he was so nice. He was so very nice to me in this moment. He was trying to be like considerate, but I knew there was just no way that I was getting out of that. And so, you know, I gave him my license, my registration. He goes back to his car, and it seemed like forever that he was in there. And so I'm just sitting and waiting. I text somebody from work, and I'm like, hey, I'm definitely gonna be late. I got pulled over. So see you when I get there. And he comes back with a citation and a court date. That one got me, because a court date, like, I am, other than speeding, I am a rule follower, okay? I love rules. I love having boundaries and knowing where I should start and stop, and like, I am terrified of being in trouble for anything. And so having a court date was just like the end of the world, honestly. I could not even believe it. And so I was freaking out, like, I didn't have enough money. How was I gonna afford an attorney? How was I gonna do all of these things? Like, this is all going through my head as I get the citation and am having to just go to work right after. Luckily, at that time, I have an aunt that worked at a attorney's office, and I gave her a call like the Monday after and let her know what was going on. And I was like, you know, is there any way that like someone there could help me, like represent me in court or whatever it was? Looking back on it, I don't think that I needed an attorney. I think I just probably needed to just go to court to like get my fine and be told don't do it again, which is what I hope would have happened. But you know, I was like 18, so what am I gonna do? And she was like, well, I'll talk to them. I'll see what we can do and see if they're available on that date to help you, since it shouldn't be too long. And I was like, that's great. Thank you so much. And we get off the phone. The court date rolls around and one of the attorneys in the office decided that they would help me. And I was talking to him, you know, we got there probably 10, 15 minutes early than like the court time. And I was discussing everything with him, going through like the details, showed him the citation, everything that was going on, just to kind of brief him, let him know what was happening. And I was like, you know, I really appreciate you doing this for me. What is the cost? Like, how much is this gonna cost to have you like represent me in court? And bless this man's heart. Bless his heart. Do you know what he said? Well, your aunt made me a pot of chili and I told her I'd do it for free. He went to court with me and was paid with chili. Bless his soul, honestly. Bless him, because that was so great. I went in and essentially, like I thought probably would have happened if I went alone, they were just kind of like, you know, you did something wrong, right? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Definitely know I did something wrong. Won't happen again, doc. And I think I had to like go back through traffic school, which totally fine. You know, I made it through. We lived to see another day and I am so grateful for that one. This last one was a little bit more recent. I would say maybe 2 years ago. It was right before the pandemic. And once again, I'm running late. And so I'm on my way to work. I know that I had a couple of people that were in orientation that day, meaning I had some new hires that were going to be waiting on me after their orientation to kind of show them around, talk to them, introduce them to everyone. Like, I had to be there. And I was running behind. And so I was going about my way. I'm probably 10 minutes away from work at this point in downtown. So going through downtown, there's more traffic than just, you know, out in the rural area that I was living. I'm definitely kind of speeding. I'm in the fast lane and there's a car that gets behind me. And I am so annoyed by this car. I don't think you understand how annoyed I was by this car because I couldn't get over. And so they were riding my ass, all right? Just bumper to bumper. If I were to brake in any capacity, they would have hit me. And so I was livid at this point. Like, I'm already high stress, I'm already late, I'm trying to get to work, and this mother effer won't get off my bumper. So I kind of like speed up and I try to slow down a little bit to create a little bit of distance, and they're doing the same. I mean, just one after another. And finally, after about 2 or 3 minutes of this going back and forth, I was done. I was trying to find my way to get over, so I slow down as much as I can to try to squeeze my way through 2 other cars that are on the other side of the road, so I could just kind of change lanes, you know? And as I change lanes, this car pulls up next to me and starts staring at me. And I'm like, what is your deal, man? What is your deal? And this is something I never do. I don't do this. This is not my thing, but you have to understand, in this moment, I was livid. I flipped this man off. Which I know isn't like unheard of with like road rage driving or whatever, but like for me, that was out of character to like, I am not confrontational in any capacity. I hate confrontation. But this person had just made me so angry. I just gave them the bird, you know? Immediately, the car slows down, flips on lights, and pulls me over. I flipped off an undercover cop. I was messing with an undercover cop the whole time. You can't make this shit up. So I get pulled over and I'm waiting. I get my license and registration out because at this point, like, I've been pulled over quite a few times in my day. I know the drill. I'm ready. I look down. My insurance is expired, which it's not. Just the card I had was expired. State Farm, you could do a little bit better about just like sending those out. Like even if I request one, they don't send it. I don't understand. So you can do better about that, State Farm, but that's okay. We'll look past it for the moral of the story here. And so I looked down like, well, shit, I am done. I'm done for in this because like I already made this person mad. Like he was already very angry with me. And then flipping him off made it even better. So I'm just kind of sitting there waiting. I rolled down my window and he's not in uniform. This man's not in uniform. He maybe had like a 2010 Ford Focus, baby blue, like really did not look like a police officer at all. And he came to the window and he was like, ma'am, you know you're driving in the fast lane, right? And I was like, yes, sir. And he was like, you know, right now, I'm late for a meeting. I need to get to this meeting. And so this is all I'm gonna say to you. You can't flip people off down here, okay? People get shot for that, all right? You need to slow down, get in the other lane, and have better manners. Is essentially what he said. I was like, yes, sir. Got it, understood. And he was like I said, I'm late for my meeting, so I'm gonna go, but don't do it again. Point taken, heard. Thank you, my kind sir. Will never flip somebody off again when I'm driving or in general because that's not who I am. So he gets back in his car, he pulls off, I get out of a ticket, which lucky for me, I got out of that ticket. But also, I'm not even sure if he could have given me one with like not being in uniform and like in an undercover car that was like outdated. I mean, this was what, maybe 2019 that this happened. You do not look like a police officer. This makes no sense to me. But anyway, that one was my favorite out of all of them because who else can say, yeah, I got pulled over by flipping off an undercover cop? I don't know anybody else that says that. Anyway, I just wanted to share those stories because those are my favorite. I mean, really the scary one about having to go to court, really don't enjoy that one. But the fact I got pulled over on the way to prom and I get pulled over for flipping off an undercover police officer, brilliant, genius. Love that for me. All right, that is all I wanted to talk about today, and I hope that you're having a good one.